You're not afraid of death. You're afraid of not having truly lived. And once you hear what Edgar Cayce said happens in the first 24 hours after the soul leaves the body, you'll understand why those two fears are the exact same fear. Most people think death is a door. You walk through it. Whatever's on the other side is out of your hands. But Cayce didn't see a door. He saw a mirror. And what the soul encounters in those first hours isn't judgment from something above you. It's recognition from something inside you. A confrontation with what you actually were. Beneath every mask, every excuse, every careful story you told yourself about who you are. That confrontation begins the moment the silver cord breaks. In the Cayce readings, the silver cord is the energetic thread connecting the soul to the physical body. Not metaphor, not poetry, a literal mechanism of incarnation. And at death, it severs, gently or suddenly depending on how death arrives, but always completely. And in that severance, something shifts. The soul, which has spent an entire lifetime operating through the filter of a nervous system, through the noise of fear and desire, of ego and memory and survival, suddenly operates without that filter. Imagine you've been hearing music through a broken speaker your entire life. You adapted. You thought that distortion was the music. And then someone removes the speaker entirely. And for the first time you hear the sound directly. That's the first moment after death. Not darkness, not silence. Clarity. But here's what most people skip over. That clarity isn't comfortable, not at first. Because the soul, now unfiltered, begins to perceive the life it just lived with a precision it never had while living it. Not the edited version. Not the version you rehearsed in the shower where you always said the right thing. Not the version where your intentions excused your impact. The full version, every interaction, every choice made from love and every choice made from fear dressed up as something reasonable. I remember when I first encountered this idea in the Cayce readings, I didn't find it comforting. I found it unsettling. Because I immediately started thinking about ordinary moments, small ones, the ones we never think will matter. The message you read and decided to answer later, and then forgot. The person who needed you to just sit with them, and you were there physically, but somewhere else entirely in your mind. The apology you almost gave. The one that was right there, ready, and you swallowed it because the moment felt awkward. The times you were kind when people were watching, and the times you weren't when they weren't. Cayce called this the life review, and it isn't God judging you. It isn't a cosmic tribunal weighing your virtues against your failures. It is you, finally seeing yourself, without the ego's interference, without the mind's endless talent for justification, without the exhausting human habit of remembering your good intentions while forgetting your actual impact. The soul sees the full picture, and then something extraordinary happens. You don't just see those moments, you feel them, from the other side. Every ripple you created in another person's life, you experience it as they experienced it. The warmth you gave someone on a day they were collapsing inward, you feel that warmth as them in your own chest. The cold shoulder you gave someone who reached out at the wrong time, you feel that too. Not sequentially, all of it simultaneously. One single expanded moment of total recognition. This is not punishment. Cayce was clear about that. There is no figure standing over you with a ledger. There is only you, finally awake, finally honest, finally free of the machinery of survival, experiencing the truth of what it was like to be on the receiving end of your life. Now, do you understand why the way you treat people matters so completely? Not because karma is a cosmic accounting system tracking every mistake, but because there is no separation between you and the people you touched. There never was. And death is simply the moment the illusion of that separation dissolves and you feel what was always true. After the life review, Cayce described what he called the borderland, a state of consciousness that isn't quite the physical world and isn't yet the deeper spiritual planes. Think of waking up slowly in a room you've never seen before. Your senses are working, but you need a moment to understand where you are. Which direction is forward? What is real? In this borderland, the soul is still close to the earth. It can sense the grief of those left behind. It can feel the familiar people, places, unfinished things. And for some souls, Cayce said, this closeness becomes an anchor, not a punishment, not a curse, simply unfinished emotional business. The soul that died in the middle of an argument it never resolved. The one who spent a lifetime attached to something it could never fully release. These souls don't move forward easily. not because something external is holding them, because they are. This is why nearly every mystical tradition across every culture has prayers for the dead. Not because God needs to be persuaded, but because the soul in that liminal space can still be reached, still helped, still gently released forward. Someone loving you enough to let you go matters even then. Now here is the turn, the part that will stay with you. If the first hours after death are a review, an unfiltered, total confrontation with the life you lived, then your life right now is the material being recorded. Not for God, for you. Every conversation you're half present for. Every moment you chose the comfortable contraction over the frightening expansion. Every time someone needed something real from you and you calculated the cost before responding. And the soul that leaves your body, whether that's in 5 years or 50, will sit in that borderland perfectly awake and watch. The question Cayce's readings ask is simple and devastating. When that moment comes, will you recognize the life you see? There's a story of a monk asked by his student, "How do I prepare for death?" The monk said, "Live every day as though you're already reviewing it." That answer sounds like philosophy until you understand what Cayce actually meant. The review isn't a lesson. It isn't a punishment. It is the soul, finally free of everything it used to protect itself, seeing clearly, perhaps for the first time, what it actually chose, what it actually gave, what it withheld for reasons that, in that clarity, no longer make any sense at all. Beyond the borderland, Cayce described something even more profound. A state of awareness, not a place, but an opening, where the soul begins to see the life it just lived in a larger context. Not just this lifetime, but the longer arc, the patterns that repeat across many lives, the fears revisited, the gifts almost claimed, then retreated from. The lessons circled around again and again, wearing different costumes, not just the single word you were living inside. And something in that seeing brings not grief but recognition. Oh, this is what I was doing here. And here is the thing that reframes everything. Cayce insisted across thousands of readings that the soul chooses to return, not because it failed, not because it is forced, because it sees in that state of expanded, clarified awareness what it still wishes to understand, what it still wishes to give, what it still wishes in some essential way to become. Which means the soul you are right now came here deliberately, chose this difficulty, this family, this specific configuration of love and limitation and longing, and it will review every moment of what it chose, not with regret, with the honest, unflinching, strangely loving gaze of something that finally knows itself completely. So here is how this lands in real life. Not theory, not philosophy. When you are about to say something unkind, you will feel that from the inside, in the review. When you are tempted to stay small and safe and contracted, your soul will watch that moment, not with shame, with recognition. When someone needs your actual presence and you're somewhere else in your head, come back. That moment of real contact is one of the few things that will feel in the review exactly as valuable as it was. And when fear of death moves through you, let this be the thought that follows it. The soul is not lost. It is finally, completely found. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings who agreed for a time to have a human one. If something in this conversation touched something real in you, not the part that thinks, but the part that knows, then stay close. This channel exists for those who are no longer satisfied with surface answers, who feel somewhere beneath the noise that there is something vast they came here to remember. We're remembering it together, one truth at a time.